All right. So, in our maiden voyage last week together, I don't know how this came up. We just free associate the way we do around the house every
Hanging
day.
out.
We somehow landed on Taylor Swift.
Yes, we did.
And we both got swift kicks in the butt from
We
the
did.
internet for the opinions that we declared just off the cuff on live internet, right?
Correct.
Because
Correct.
while I said, I was just being honest, beauty in the eye of the beholder, she's not hot to me. I don't get that part.
But that's
And
your
that's my
opinion.
opinion. And you said you
I
don't love
don't
her
really like. I
music.
bought her
Okay.
first
You
album.
did. I didn't even
I
know that.
did.
Oh,
But
well,
but
that qualifies you a little bit.
I would not go out of my way to go see
Yeah.
her.
And you said that you're a huge fan of Bonnie
Well, I like
Raitt,
Bonnie
and she
Raitt
has
and
acknowledged that was a sort of musical role
yeah.
model for her.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I think she's a nice
Okay.
person. I don't know her personally, but I'm
Okay.
sure she does
So
great things for
a
girls who
very
admire her.
weird phenomenon ensued in our house because for the first time in 20 years, you actually shared the hot seat with me.
Yeah,
For
it
20
was
years, you have defended me on the hot seat,
correct.
fiercely, loyally defended me,
Right.
like to the death, like
Yeah.
you'll fight literally for me.
Well, I don't
And
know
all
how
of a
much I'll
sudden,
fight, but yes.
you're you're on the hot seat with me because you're getting fallout that I usually get. And even though my fallout was way worse than yours
Yeah.
because some of the lines about
Yeah,
me,
yours was
I,
bad.
I uttered a disparaging remark about Taylor Swift's looks.
Yeah.
And I had a brutal declaration, a scathing
Yeah.
opinion about Taylor Swift. Well,
She's
no, it's
so
just my
crazy.
opinion.
It's your opinion.
So all week long in this household, my wife kept saying to me, well, I meant this and I
Well,
believe what I said, but you kept defending yourself. And I said, you don't need to defend yourself. Just let it go.
well, I
You said
didn't.
what you
I
said.
don't have. Again, I don't hate her. I have nothing against her. I never met. I never met her. She has great music. It's not my thing, but that doesn't mean that. It's not as though I said they should take her and put her on an iceberg somewhere and ship her out
Yeah.
to the middle of Alaska. I
But
just
you
said,
kept trying to justify your opinion
yeah,
to me. And I kept saying, no, I don't need to hear you justify because you're good. You said what you believe, and you've said that to me off camera many times before.
yeah,
You just don't love her music.
no,
Okay. So what's the
there's
problem?
no problem. But as a matter of fact, when I read the New York Post last
And by
week,
the way, this got picked up.
yeah, it got
Everybody
picked up
wrote about
everywhere,
it.
even the Daily
Who
Mail in London.
okay, so it was the
But
New York Post, it was Parade Magazine,
Us
Us Magazine,
Magazine,
Men's Journal,
MSN,
MSN,
everywhere. But
Newsweek, and
yeah,
Yahoo picked it
Newsweek.
up. Okay.
But what was funny, the New York Post ran a piece that said a lot of couples are having problems because the husbands are divorcing the wives because the wives
We're
have
so
become
obsessed.
addicted to
Yeah.
Taylor Swift and
Hmm.
they're hopping around the country going to
Right.
see her
And
and the
the
husband can't take it
husbands
anymore.
are disrespectful within their household of
Right.
Taylor Swift in ways that the obsessed wife
It's taking offense
can't
and just saying I
tolerate,
can't
can't
take it.
live
I need to
with.
go
And so
be
they
on the
are
road.
actually breaking up
Divorcing.
marriages over Taylor
Yes.
Swift. Well, I hope our marriage doesn't come to
Well,
that.
we both are not big Swifties, but
Okay.
it's
So
okay.
the point is, if we're going to do this
Hmm.
fairly regularly, you have to adopt the stance that I don't know how, thank you God, I just adopted since I was in high school when I'm writing columns for
Hmm.
my high school newspaper, slamming the coach I played for
Right.
on the baseball team.
Right.
You just have to live with it if you believe what you write, say,
Well,
think.
it was just crazy. I didn't think anyone would really care. And when that evening I started to receive notes from friends saying, "Did you see that this was picked up about what you and Skip said?" It was just craziness
Okay.
because I'm sure a lot of people don't really love her music, but maybe people are afraid to say that because they don't want to be the minority as opposed to the majority.
Okay. So are you doing better after a week of
I'm doing
this
great. I don't
with
care. I think she's a great person. I'm sure she does great things for women and girls around the country and world, but I personally am not going to go buy her CD.
okay, but you did buy her first
I
one,
did
and I
buy
don't
her,
know
yeah, it was
what
the first
possessed you
one.
to buy the first one.
Because
Just
I
to
think I liked her first
sample,
song. Yeah,
just
I
to
liked her
see?
first song, but
Okay.
then as it went on, I just kind of moved away from liking her that much.
Okay. So this happened to me in the throes of all this. I've told you that since I went on Twitter in 2009, I
Yeah,
believe, and I tried it for maybe a year or
yeah.
so. I read my
I
responses on Twitter,
remember.
my ats, my
I
mentions. I
remember that.
read them because they actually helped me as I was sort of the executive producer. I put the rundown together every day for First Take.
Right.
This is pre Stephen A. He didn't come until 2011.
Yeah.
So we're just having a rotation of guest debaters.
Yeah.
So I'm putting the topics together, and it actually helped me to get up early in the morning on the East Coast and read what people were saying, because I thought it would sort of,
Feedback was going to
yeah,
help
and
you.
it would actually direct my, not my opinion, but my belief in what was hot. I could see what was hot. Hazel, I don't know what you're doing.
But then
She's,
soon after that, you learned that was the wrong thing to
well,
do.
well, after a while,
Right, because it was not
what started
helping, it was
happening was,
hindering.
yeah, I would read one comment early in the morning about your hair
They
looked
don't
like
like your
crap
hair. You
yesterday,
look
and I would start thinking, well, do
pale.
I need a haircut, or
Yeah.
or should I, am I not drying it correctly, or should I change my hairstyle? And it would eat at my psyche all day long and actually affect me. And it's one person, man or woman, who knows where they live, who knows what their circumstances are, and they're just packing away. And I'm letting one person, I used to say it's some guy in his parents' basement in Des Moines, I let him infiltrate my psyche and actually change the way I was thinking about myself, let him poke a hole in my self faith for the day.
But
Really?
that happened to me when I wrote my book.
You know, she did
And
write a
then
book
when
called
I wrote the
Balls.
book Balls
You know, what's the
and
subtitle?
How
It's
to Keep Your Relationship Alive When You Live with a Sports Obsessed Guy,
me.
and when I started my Instagram, which I'm not a big social media person, and I made the mistake of reading comments after I did a couple of TV shows to promote it, people were saying horrible things. Eat a sandwich. Don't you ever eat? You're so thin. I mean, it's just, why do you have to say horrible things? What I said about Taylor Swift is not a horrible thing. I said, I'm just not into her music. I didn't say, oh, she's, too skinny, she's too fat, she's whatever. I just said, I'm not a big fan of her music. But people have the right, they think, to say, you should get a nose job. You're too skinny. You're too ugly. You're whatever. And I don't get it. So I don't read anything
Okay.
anymore.
So I made a hard and fast business decision in maybe 2010. I said, I'm out. I'm never going to read it again. I don't follow anybody because I don't, I always like to say, I'm a leader, not a follower. I'd
Yeah.
like to be a tone setter, not a reactor. I'm a pre-actor. So with all my opinions, they're completely, totally, utterly mine. And I
Yes.
form them sometimes sitting next to you watching games at night, and I sleep on them, and then I unleash them. And it's not that I'm reacting and I think, oh, that was a good opinion. Maybe I can factor that into, I can weave that into
Or
mine. I don't do that.
shock jock
Okay.
stuff.
There's a lot of shock jocks and a lot of people who don't believe what they say. And I think you will attest, every word I utter,
No,
I
it's the
believe
truth.
with
Whether you
all my
believe
heart
it,
and
yeah,
soul, whether
yeah.
it's right or
Whether it's
wrong,
right or
whether you
wrong,
agree or
you
not.
could be a
It's,
nut and believe what you
yeah,
want, but it's the
it's not
truth of what
shock
you believe.
jockey.
No,
I'm not
you don't
trying
play for
to,
an
I'm
audience.
not clickbaiting. I'm just telling you from the bottom of my heart and the bottom of my soul exactly what I
Yeah, you believe
believe.
it. So
And when you said what you said about Taylor Swift, it's not a monumental opinion that's going to change life.
she
It's
could
just
care
your opinion.
less.
But the Swifties are going to rise up and defend her. And again, we're just going back and forth in husband wife talk, because you constantly, when we're watching games, one of your appeals to the game, which doesn't bother me one bit because I'm
The
not a
cute guys. I
jealous
pick out the
person,
cute
she picks
guys.
out the cute
Yeah,
guys, and she picks out the guys, especially watching basketball, which is NBA basketball is her
right.
favorite sport,
Yeah,
because they're wearing tank tops and shorts, and she
they have good
says, he's
bodies.
got a great body.
Right.
He's got a great body. LeBron, you say, has a great body,
Great
great
body.
physique.
Yeah.
And it doesn't bother me a bit because, well, I'll buy that.
Well,
And
it's a fact. You
I'm
look
not
at them
threatened
and
by it because you can attest, I work
You do.
really
You
like
work hard
crazy
at keeping
hard
your
on my
body
body.
whatever the
And
way you want
so
it.
I'm I'm pleased with how I look because I
Right.
paid the price to look this way, not maybe the way LeBron pays, but in my way, day after
But
day
that's
after
your
day, that's
regimen
the
and
way
that's
I
your
pay my
way you
price.
live your
And
life.
so I'm proud of the way I look, which makes me unthreatened by you saying that so and so is a hot guy.
Yeah.
And so I was just making the point, it's always beauty in the eye of the beholder because
Yeah.
one man's pleasure is another man's pain. It's like when I look at Taylor Swift, and I don't want to delve into this again, I
That's
just
just
don't
not your
see hot.
thing.
It's
So,
not
but
my
that's not
cup of
your,
tea.
but
It's
so
or
what?
Gatorade, if you will.
It
Yeah,
doesn't mean
not
she's,
my style.
it's
Okay,
not your thing.
okay, but I don't hate her. I don't have anything personal
She
against
does
her,
great things. Girls look
and
up to her. She has a great following.
and
They believe in her and she seems to
we
be very genuine.
we
But
go out to
again,
Lil Wayne's house occasionally on Saturdays and have long talks. And he was the one who brought up to us. It's been within the last year that he was at a concert venue in her early days,
yeah, yeah.
and I think it was in New Orleans, I want to
Maybe.
say,
Yeah.
and that he was talking to the either the director of the arena or a concert promoter who was doing both concerts because he was going to play the next
Yeah.
night. And he said, "Oh, this Taylor Swift is going to be a force
Yeah.
because she did a meet and greet. Was it before or after? I think it was
I think it was
before,
before. Yeah.
where hundreds of people came to the meet and greet and obviously paid
Mm-hmm.
a bit more to do so. And she shook every hand
Yeah.
and spoke personally to every person in the meet and greet group.
Yeah.
Like, what are, where are you from?
Yeah.
What do you
She
do?
showed she
Yeah,
cared.
she showed she cared. Okay, so that's great, and that's in large part why she's great. I don't get the music either, but God bless her because
It's her
she is
style.
it, man.
Yeah.
And everything she touches turns to gold. See Travis Kelsey and that podcast. See now Jason Kelsey's wife has started a podcast. Way to go. And it rocketed to
Yeah.
the top.
It beat Joe Rogan.
Yeah, okay, way to go. We'll see if that lasts,
Yeah.
but
She's got it
congratulations.
going
That's
on.
the Taylor Swift effect.